name's Cameron. I've got a dog called Mage. He's a Chow Chow. He's about 2 years old. His birthday's in October. I got Mage from a breeder in Blythe. Roughly around £2,000 I paid for Mage. I got Mage as an early Christmas present from my grandma. Some of the labels I hate is that Mage, when I'm walking Mage in the park and stuff like that, and you see other families walking by with their dogs, a lot of them pull their dogs away because they seem to think that Mage is a bad dog. But in reality it's just because you can't really see many of his features, so he tends to get negatively labelled, but in reality he's a really lovable dog and he's got such a big heart. He just wants to make friends, but he's really goofy, so I do hate that. Mage is a pedigree and his parents are show dogs. The breeder that we got them from actually was a judge in Crufts recently. So they tend to, she's a very expert breeder when it comes to Chow Chows. So we knew that we were getting them from the right place. Well, I got Mage from a breeder instead of a shelter because I wanted a dog from being a puppy that I could bring up myself, and it was for my first dog, so it sounded like a nicer option than potentially getting a dog that has already moulded a personality in a shelter or in a bad home. I don't really feel bad because I know that my very first dog, I did want it to be from a breeder, but I know that any future dogs I would be perfectly happy getting them from a shelter to make that difference. But it's just my very first dog, I wanted to make sure I had the best experience possible so I could go on in the future and have more dogs and be open to having more dogs.
So hi, my name's Steve and I own a lurcher called Rodney. We rescued Rodney about 5 years ago from the dog rescue centre in Cleedon. It's something that I'm very proud of, and it's something that we discussed as a family. We went down, we saw him, he immediately came up to the kennels and stuck his nose through. And I think it was at that stage we realised that actually Rodney had picked us as opposed to us picking Rodney. Would I ever buy a dog from a breeder? No, I wouldn't. I am acutely aware that the puppy breeding industry, for want of a better word, has a lot of unscrupulous dog breeders. The animals are kept in some fairly appalling conditions. There's certainly an amount of inbreeding, which would of course cause lots of genetic issues later down the family line, if you like. So weighing up all the pros and the cons, we decided against buying a dog from a breeder. We'd seen an advertisement in the local paper aptly named the 12 Dogs of Christmas, and there was Rodney, just a headshot. So we took a drive up to the kennels in Cleedon Village where we live. We had a walk around. We knew Rodney was there, but we thought, in the interest of fairness to the other dogs, we'll have a walk about and have a look. Nothing really stood out for us until we came across Rodney, who was sat at the back of his small kennel with some newspaper as bedding, a dog bowl with some dry food and water. Clearly, he was very distressed. He was very, very nervous. My daughter managed to kneel down and coaxed him over. Immediately, he stuck his nose through the grill and licked her hand. We knew immediately that Rodney was the dog for us. We wanted to give him his forever home. Rodney soon realised that we didn't mean him any harm at all, and in fact we were there to love him and to nurture him and to basically find the dog that he is today. I've not known any other way of owning a pet. Since childhood we've always rescued dogs. It was something my parents were, very keen on. They held similar views to myself around, puppy farms and breeders, and, you don't know what you're getting. They don't always arrive in great health. There's lots of inherent health problems. I do understand that it's personal choice, and, I respect people's choices. But what I would say to them is, don't look so much at the experience of owning a puppy. Whilst it can be fun, it can also be incredibly damaging in your house, as we learnt to our cost with Alfie, who, despite being a whippet, somehow managed to eat half the house. Every time we walk in the house, he's outrageously pleased to see us. He's very loving, he's very loyal, as I mentioned earlier. He's just an all-round great dog.
That's it. Isn't it? Oh, I can't even stand up, Steve. No.